Okay, everybody, I am Metabolical, and with me is WP Marshall, and this is round 3 of the PACE tournament. And in brown, we have Giggle, and the green player is Captain Conundrum. Captain Conundrum starting off with a couple mechs and a couple power plants, and similarly over here with Captain Conundrum. Did I get that right? No, and Giggle in brown. So, if you're new to this game, the first thing you need to do is get some economy going. The resources of the game are metal and energy. The green dots you see on the map are the metal spots, and energy, and you can build a metal extractor on them to get it. The energy you get from building power plants is one of the first buildings that you actually build. And so most players start out with a couple of those, and then start out with a bot factory, air factory, or a vehicle factory. These guys have chosen a bot factory. Want to talk about that a little bit, Marshall?
Well, I'm not entirely sure what the balance is, but I always prefer bots simply because of their mobility. Although recently I've been getting into airfabbers because of their rapid expansion capabilities, but on this planet I think it might be better if they do go bots, because the docs can scout for themselves, and then of course you then have the extra bot factory to do various things with.
Yes, so the mobility of the bots are pretty good, faster than the vehicles, and the first thing you typically build in a game of Planetary Annihilation is fabricators. Fabricators are the things that use the metal that you have and use energy to turn that metal into other buildings and structures. So this fabricator here was just building this metal extractor and is going on to get more metal.
Interestingly, we see an air factory going up from Giggle, so he's going to be getting out some fireflies, I suspect, so he's going to be getting out some scouting and intel early into the game.
The air units in Planetary Annihilation are a lot faster than the ground units by considerable measure, and this Firefly is the scouting unit. You can see that it provides a great deal of a vision denoted by the lighter area around that unit and moves very quickly. So he's going to use that to seek out and find his opponent to determine what his strategy will be, whether he needs to do something that in this case they're quite a bit of distance apart, and so that will influence the way he builds.
Captain Conundrum also getting up an air factory now. Instead, he's getting a hummingbird, which is an air fighter, out first. So I assume he realizes he's a little bit late to get to the air factory and therefore wants to get a bit more defense before he scouts.
And the scout of Giggle just went over Captain Conundrum's base, so he knows exactly where his opponent is and can see like what kind of exploration is going on.
Very good expansion from Captain Conundrum, although quite risky. He's not actually getting up all that many defenses in his expansions, although he is making a staging post towards the South Pole with an extra factory. So while he is expanding his eco, he isn't really doing it efficiently, or at least reliably.
He may have estimated that due to the time it took Giggle to find him, that it means that they're farther apart, and maybe banking on that to kind of choose this more macro-oriented and less safe build that doesn't involve any real fighting units other than the air at this time.
What we see right between the two spawns is we see sort of two staging posts right next to each other, which when they find each other we'll probably start to see small skirmishes appear between those bases there as they develop.
Yeah, you can see that the vision now of that radar is, if we just turn off Giggle's vision here for a moment, you can see that Captain Conundrum knows about the little radar tower that's being built, or a laser tower that's being built near him down here. He did not see the factory going down there, so he knows something's up. Actually, he doesn't even see that. Sorry, that wasn't a tower, that was one of our commanders. So he is just outside of that range and has just missed vision on what Giggle has done there.
And as soon as the fabricator comes out and starts claiming that metal, it will become apparent that Giggle is sat there, and Captain Conundrum will begin, I suspect, getting out some docks and repelling that staging post very rapidly.
It'd be really interesting to see if one of these guys like Giggle, who's right next to a commander, reclaims it for the metal that we kind of deposited on the ground. There's a lot of metal inside a commander after some of the recent changes.
Note, we have a T2 bot factory, an advanced bot factory going up inside Giggle's base, so with any luck he'll be going for an advanced eco, potentially even an advanced assault unit rush, but eco is much more likely.
Yeah, the economy of the tier 2, you can't build this tier 2 bot factory until you've gotten a fabricator from your tier 1 bot factory. And the advantage of the tier 2 economy is considerable, even though it's a lot more expensive. Normal metal extractor generates 7 metal, but an advanced metal extractor generates 28. And you can put that over your first one for a total of 35. So the increase of your economy based on the use of the advanced technology is really considerable.
Yeah, we see a lot of energy econ from Giggle in comparison to Captain Conundrum, so potentially Captain Conundrum is a little bit behind on the efficacy to actually mass produce units at this point of the game, hence why there are lots more bot factories in Giggle's base at this point, in addition to that T2 going up.
Yeah, both players are running, I think, in the negative on energy. You can tell because if you look at one of their the radar towers, you can see, like we just saw the light around that flicker on and off here in Captain Conundrum's kind of new proxy base. And if you look at the places where Giggle has a radar factory, you will see the same sort of flickering on and off. Confrontation going on kind of on the equator here, where a set of docks have come in, found the laser tower in progress, and are now running past it. They did not actually kill the laser tower or the factory, and have just kind of continued on as part of their scouting. So I think he sent those guys off to move, and then they did not produce any work there. Laser tower does decay over a little time there, so now because of that alert from the attack that happened, you can see Giggle moving to intercept. Easily cleans up those bots. One of them got stuck partway across, and the bot factory's in jeopardy. It's not really got a lot of attention on it, and it's pretty low on health. You can see in the lower left hand corner of the screen the health of the bot factory just eking down, and he gets a bot out just in time, and they trade shots until they both die.
User entered your channel.
Sorry about that, I lost connection there. I'm just going to jump back into
No problem.
the game.
Captain Conundrum has got his economy under control when it comes to the energy, and you can see that was reflected by this laser tower, or sorry, this radar tower, which can see all the way out to about here. So he knows that Giggle is just over the horizon there. Meanwhile, looking at this radar, you can see how it flickers on and off to having full range, which means Giggle's actually just barely under on economy for energy, and he's got it stabilized.
He's probably going to start going under again, however, because by the North Pole his commander's building another staging post with even more factories, while Captain Conundrum tries to assault that position of single laser point towers.
Yep, there's a strong fight going on here at the equator. Again, there's 3 bot factories that trying to defend by Captain Conundrum, and 1 bot is left there, and looks like that bot that was on the base was fighting, so I think that was one that was supposed to roll off and just stopped and fought right there.
Yeah, I've seen this a couple of times. You just find a dock that floats until the wreckage is destroyed, at which point he actually starts doing things again. But attention drawn to the T2 air factory. I'm not sure if you've seen that yet within Captain Conundrum's base. It's about halfway done now, just over.
There it is. Captain Conundrum's base has the T2 factory. He's got a lot of work going into it. One of the things that you can do in Planetary Annihilation is you can get fabricators, including the ability of your commander, to assist on the building of things. So you can build things faster if you have the metal and energy requirements to run that. So you can see each of these bots takes 10 metal and uses 1,000 energy to convert it. He's just finished the tier 2 air factory and has started building a Peregrine, which is a fighter, which will give him really good control of the air.
Yeah, Peregrines are so much better than Hummingbirds, so despite the fact that Giggle now has in excess of 20 Hummingbirds sat idle in his base, if we have a group of maybe 3 or 4 Peregrines, those Hummingbirds are going to be short work and dead very shortly.
Over by Giggle's commander, there's a raid going on with several docks going into his energy line, and one of them is just continuing to fight there, and his commander is actually being attacked by the army of Captain Conundrum. Uber cannon shot fired.
Very nice Uber cannon. That commander is very out in the open though, with no air defenses or land defenses around him, so he's very exposed and potentially wants to retreat back into his base, or at least get some of those Hummingbirds defending him, especially now that we have gunships coming out of the T2 air factory.
That's right. Now more docks are moving their way into the base of Giggle from Captain Conundrum, just a little bit right by the North Pole. They're a little bit surrounded, so they may be able to get picked off by the army of Giggle if he pays attention. Looks like he's kind of trickling in, which is really not the best way to go.
Yeah, we have a lot of docks just sort of milling around by that North Pole staging post there, so Captain Conundrum is going to be able to get a lot of advantage on that single file nature of those docks.
Well, the just sheer volume of docks is going to take care of the problem here in just a moment. A little stream of them coming out of Giggle's base, working their way through the energy plant line, and that all got cleaned up.
Yeah, there are so many bot factories.
Substantial air fight going on over the base of Captain Conundrum. Gets it cleaned up, and the Peregrines are going to come out, and it's very those are gunships, I think. And
it's a mix of the both.
Getting chased down by the it's actually all of the army of Captain Conundrum, and they're just going to work on the commander, who's really left out. Half health.
I think that's going to be the end of the game, because there's nowhere near enough Hummingbirds to defend that commander.
Yep.
And the Kestrels are just going to beat short work of him.
Boom. Left him out a little too long. Good games announced by Giggle. Not sure why he had his commander out there. He got harassed once. That let Captain Conundrum know exactly where he needed to go, and he had an opportunity to move him back, but didn't take care of that. So I think he must have been paying attention to a lot of things at once, and it just missed it.
Yeah, he did have a lot of T2 sorting out with an extra T2 bot factory that recently went up, and a lot of queuing of T2 eco. So I think potentially his mind was based on the opposite side of his base.
Well, that concludes round 3 for Captain Conundrum and Giggle, and the win goes to Captain Conundrum. I'll talk to you guys in the next round.